Rangers on the verge of a jaw-dropping American takeover with Dave King back in the spotlight trying to rescue the club again. Meanwhile, Brendan Rodgers could be packing his bags for Chelsea as the Celtic boss grows tired of window shopping with no budget. But it does not stop there. Rangers midfield maestro Nico Raskin is being chased by Aston Villa and Leeds United, and he might just spark a summer bidding war worth £20 million. And just when you thought things could not get any spicier, rumors swirl that Celtic could replace Callum McGregor with none other than Billy Gilmour. You do not want to miss a second of this one. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, because when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we are giving away a brand new shirt from your favorite Scottish Premiership club. So buckle in and let's dive into the madness. Rangers fans, brace yourselves. The king might not be back on the throne, but he is definitely pulling strings from the royal balcony. Dave King, the club's most vocal shareholder and the man who helped steady the ship in 2015, could be about to save Rangers for a second time. A bit like a sequel you did not ask for, but now realize you desperately need. Since stepping aside and handing the reins to Douglas Park, King has never exactly been quiet in the stand. In fact, he has been more like that one fan who knows the team sheet before the manager does. His main gripe? That Rangers never capitalized on winning the Scottish Premiership. One title, then a whole lot of nothing. The bounce was more of a stumble. Now, with the current board seemingly out of ideas and even further out of favor, King has gone global. He has brought in the heavy hitters from across the Atlantic. Yes, those same 49ers from San Francisco, better known for touchdowns than touchline tantrums, might soon be pulling the strings at Ibrox. According to King himself, speaking to TalkSport, the deal is around 90% done. Not quite over the line, but the finishing line is definitely in sight. He revealed that talks began about 6 months ago with Andrew Kavanagh, and like any business handshake between men in suits, it had its touch-and-go moments. But now, it is looking like the ink is almost dry. To sweeten the pot, Tarek Marathi of the 49ers has already been talking up the club's partnership with Leeds United, squashing any fears of Rangers becoming a feeder team in some weird transatlantic talent pipeline. Plus, 49ers technical director Greta Steinson is already chipping in on the search for a new manager. They are not just flirting with the idea, they are practically planning the wedding. Back in 2015, King stepped up when Rangers were at rock bottom. Now, in 2025, with things feeling just a bit too stale for comfort, it looks like he is doing it again. Only this time, he is not taking the reins himself. He is bringing in a cavalry that could actually afford the horses. If this takeover really happens, is this the rebirth of Rangers as a European force? Or is it just another case of big promises and American investors who do not quite get the madness of Scottish football? Let me know in the comments. Are the 49ers here to save the day? Or are they just here for the brand? Brendan Rodgers, ladies and gents, back on the lips of Premier League clubs like he never left. Just when Celtic fans thought they had their man settled in Glasgow, it turns out the Premier League grapevine is buzzing again. Chelsea are sniffing about, and if the rumors are true, Spurs might be too. Just in case Ange Postecoglou fancies a change of scenery. Now look, Rodgers has done the business in Scotland, 4 titles on the bounce for Celtic, and most recently, a 5-0 thumping of Dundee United to seal yet another Scottish Premiership crown. That is not just winning, that is domination. But behind the scenes, the mood has not always been as sunny as the league table suggests. Rodgers has had to say goodbye to a conveyor belt of key players, the likes of Matt O'Reilly off to Brighton, and the boardroom has not exactly thrown open the war chest in response. The message? Perform miracles, but do not expect any gold-plated tools to do it. Apparently, Brendan is a bit miffed by the lack of transfer, and fair play, he might just be wondering if the grass really is greener down south. Let us not forget, Rodgers is no stranger to English football. He managed Swansea, nearly won the league with Liverpool, and lifted silverware with Leicester. He even has a bit of Chelsea DNA from his time with the reserves back in the late 2000s. So if Enzo Maresca is feeling the heat at Stamford Bridge, Rodgers' name being thrown into the mix makes total sense. Former Chelsea defender Glenn Johnson is not shocked either. He reckons Rodgers knows how to work with quality players and could make the jump without blinking. And with Spurs potentially looking for a new face in the dugout too, it could be London calling for Brendan. Again, if Rodgers jumps ship and heads back to England, does that prove the Celtic board have failed him? Or does it expose Scottish football as simply not enough of a challenge to keep top managers around? Let me know what you think. Is Brendan being pushed out, or just bored of running rings around the same teams every year? Well then, it looks like Nico Raskin is about to become the center of a tug-of-war that might just stretch from Glasgow to Birmingham and all the way down to Yorkshire. Aston Villa are reportedly sniffing around the Belgian midfielder with a rather chunky valuation of £20 million being floated about. Not bad for a lad who cost Rangers a tenth of that not so long ago. Now, let us be honest. Raskin has been one of the few bright sparks in what has otherwise been a fairly grey season for Rangers. A penalty shootout heartbreak at Hampton, an early exit from the Scottish Cup courtesy of Queen's Park, and another title race where they barely laid a glove on Celtic. It has not been glorious, but amidst the chaos, Raskin has quietly gone about his business, racking up nearly a century of appearances and finally getting the nod for Belgium's senior side in March. That kind of form was always going to attract interest. And now we have Aston Villa and newly promoted Leeds United circling like seagulls at a chip van. Villa want European depth, Leeds want grit to stay up. Raskin offers both. The interesting twist, though, comes from upstairs. The San Francisco 49ers group, who are already making waves with their impending Rangers takeover, are also the folks behind Leeds United, which sets up a delicious little dilemma. Do they back the Scottish project and keep Raskin at Ibrox to lead a new era, or do they shuffle him south to give Leeds some steel in midfield? Alan Hutton, who has worn both shirts, reckons how the new owners handle this transfer will say everything about their ambition. Are they here to build Rangers into a force, or is this going to be just another shop window situation where talent is polished and sold? If the 49ers end up selling Raskin to Leeds United, the very club they also own, can Rangers fans trust them to put Glasgow first? Or are we already seeing the early signs of a multi-club model that treats Ibrox like a feeder club in disguise? Let me know what you think. Is this the start of a new dynasty, or just more American business dressed up in blue scarves? Now here is one to rattle a few cages on both sides of the Glasgow divide. Billy Gilmour, the boy once tipped as the next big thing at Rangers, now being floated as the potential heir to Callum McGregor's throne at Celtic. If that move ever actually happened, we might need to call in the United Nations to keep the peace in the city. Let us set the scene. Celtic have just wrapped up another Scottish Premiership title, their fourth in a row, with a 5-0 demolition of Dundee United. Brendan Rodgers has them marching toward another domestic treble. Life in the green half of Glasgow is once again very good. But time waits for no midfielder, and Callum McGregor, captain and pass master extraordinaire, turns 32 this summer. The club captain still has plenty left in the tank and a contract that runs until 2028. But conversations are already bubbling about who might eventually step into those immaculately laced boots. Enter Billy Gilmour, still only 23, playing at Napoli, but not quite setting the world alight, at least not consistently. And according to Pat Nevin, a move back to Scotland could actually make sense for him. Now, that would be a stunner. A former Rangers youth prospect who never made a senior appearance but was once hailed as their next big midfield hope, pulling on the Celtic shirt and bossing the midfield at Parkhead? That is the kind of transfer that makes grown men whisper angrily into their pints. From a football perspective, Gilmour fits the bill. He is a composed, intelligent midfielder who thrives on keeping the ball moving, just like McGregor. His pass accuracy over multiple seasons at Chelsea, Norwich, Brighton, and now Napoli proves he has the technical ability. The problem has never been talent. It has been opportunity. The boy needs to play, and consistently. So if Gilmour wants to stop being a bench option for Europe's mid-table clubs and start becoming the heartbeat of a team again, Celtic could actually offer that. A stable environment, guaranteed domestic dominance, and a chance to build a legacy. And as Greg Taylor showed, coming from a Rangers background does not mean you cannot thrive in green and white. If Billy Gilmour signs for Celtic, does that make him a traitor in the eyes of Rangers fans, or just a player finally making a smart career move? And for Celtic fans, would you accept a former Rangers prodigy running your midfield if it meant replacing McGregor with a younger version of the same? Let us hear it. Would Billy be embraced or booed out of town? And don't forget, We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit that mark, we're giving away a shirt of your favorite SPFL team to one lucky subscriber. So hit that subscribe button, drop your team in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. I post videos every day talking about our Scottish football. See you soon.